Okay. The top number is going to be 21. The bottom number is going to be negative 10. This is going to take a while, so like you're just going to have to write it down as I go. So something that multiplies to give you 21 but adds to give you negative 10. Negative 7, negative 3. This is what I was talking about the other day. Some people just are not good at coming up with the answers to these equations. Like they can't think of them. That's why some people prefer the quadratic formula because they cannot come up with the puzzle. Some people just like the quadratic formula better. Since the first number in this equation is a 1, you don't have to do the little box thing. I just spit, excuse me. You don't have to do the little box thing. You just start with x. You put your number. First one I'm going to do is negative 7. Then you do another x, and you do your other number, which is a negative 3. You are going to set those equal to 0. So I'm going to say x minus 7 equals 0. And I'm going to say x minus 3 equals 0. Those are one-step equations. All you have to do is add 7 to the other side. So this one is x equals 7. On this one, all you have to do is add 3 to the other side. So this one is x equals 3. And those are your answers. And you're done. Doing the exact same thing over here. The top number is 18. The bottom number is negative 11. Typically, I would say, okay, solve this equation, but I'm just going to give you the answers today because for the sake of time, this takes a while. So the first one would be negative 9, and the second one would be negative 2. Negative 9 times negative 2 is 18, and negative 9 plus negative 2 is negative 11. Since the first number is a 1, all you have to do is x minus 9 and x minus 2. You set those equal to 0. I am actually going to skip that step. When you set those equal to 0, it just makes it the opposite of the number. So it's x equals 9 and x equals 2. I did not show my work there, but you see the other one. It's the exact same work, except for one's a 9 and one's a 2. So that's number 1 and number 2. Going back to factoring. Number 3 and 4 are the same thing, but the directions are wrong. We actually, and I'm going to mark out the directions because I don't want you to think we are finding the solutions by graphing. We are graphing using factoring. So the instructions are to graph by using factoring. That's the same directions for number 3 and for number 4. So I'm going to mark out the directions just so you don't think that we're finding the solutions by graphing it. Okay, you do the exact same thing we just did on the last two. We start with the X factor method. This is what you guys usually sound like, FYI. Negative 3 and negative 2 on the bottom. Something that multiplies to give you negative 3 and adds to give you negative 2. Yeah, negative 3 and positive 1. So our factors are x minus 3 and x plus 1. Okay, we need to figure out what those equal when you set them equal to 0. I showed you how to do that on the first one. The first one is actually going to be x equals 3. Don't throw things across the room. I'm not saying you did. Yeah, it says x plus 1. X equals negative 1 is the other one. That is what you're going to plot first. Go on your x-axis. Preston. Go to positive 3 and make a point. This is on your x-axis. We made a point at positive 3. We're also going to make a point at negative 1, which is right here. That's the point of finding those answers. Like when we factor it, that's the whole point of it, is those are your x-intercepts. Now we need to find our axis of symmetry. You could either do that by finding the opposite of b over 2a, or we're going to take those two numbers we just found and do the average. 3 plus -1 and dividing it by 2. That's finding an average. What's 3 minus 1? 2. What's 2 divided by 2? So our axis of symmetry is going to be at 1. I'm going to make a dotted line through that point. That's our axis of symmetry. That means the first point in our vertex goes through that point at 1. To find the other point of our vertex, we take that point 1 and we plug it back into our original equation all the way up here. 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 3. 1 squared minus 2 and then parentheses 1 minus 3. No one else is doing it but me. You sound just like me. And I get -4. So we need to plot that point. You go over 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our parabola. Okay. Number 3 is done. Number 4 is all wrong. We need to fix it. So actually mark out the problem because the problem is wrong. We have to fix it. The problem is x squared minus 4x plus 3. The plus signs and the minus signs were all wrong. First thing we need to do is the factor method. The top number is 3, the bottom number is -4. Something that multiplies to give me 3 but adds to give me -4. -3, -1, yes. X minus 3, x minus 1, which means our two answers are x equals 3, x equals 1. We need to plot those 2 points. So go on your x-axis to 3. There's 1 right there. And also to 1. And make points there. If you found the average of those, you would take 3 plus 1, which is how much, and divide that by 2. Our axis of symmetry is at 2. So we know the first point in our vertex is at 2. So what we need to do is go take 2 and plug it back in where we have x's in our original equation. 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 3. Yeah, you get -1. So our last step is to plot this point. You go over 2 and down 1. There's the parabola. Yes. You like to call your mom? Okay. Number 5. So these are a little less work. What are the coordinates of the vertex? If all it's asking for is the vertex, all you have to do is the opposite of b over 2a. Now, if you don't know which one a is, which one b is, which one c is, you can always write those numbers down if you want. In this case, a is 1, b is 8, c is 1. The opposite of b, what is the opposite of +8? -8. What is 2 times 1? What is -8 divided by 2? -4. Okay, that's the first point of our vertex. The first point of our vertex, we did the opposite of b over 2a. We got -4. To find the other point, you take -4 and you plug it back into your equation. Since that's negative, you have to put that in parentheses or you're not going to get the right answer. Did anyone do that? I did do it. Yes. You guys have to take a test over it tomorrow, so I'm not doing it for you tomorrow. Good job. That's the vertex. So you take your -4, plug it back in. If you do not put -4 in parentheses, you're going to get the wrong number. I promise you that. Number 6 is the exact same thing. You need to do the opposite of B over 2A. All it wants is the vertex. So what is my B for number 6? What's the opposite of +2? I need to take 2 times A. So what is A? So 2 times 1 is, and what is -2 divided by +2? Okay, so I know the first point of my vertex is -1. I need to plug that point back into the original equation to find the other point. Yeah. 7. Okay. Now we're getting into quadratic formula stuff, which is what we started right before math testing and then last Friday as well. What is the discriminant of the equation? So let's go ahead and write down what the discriminant is again so you can remember. It is b squared minus 4ac. That is what the discriminant is. You have to know what a is, what b is, and what c is to remember how to do the discriminant. So on number 7, which one is b? What number? So make sure you put that in parentheses before you square it. -3 squared minus 4 times your a, which is 2, then times c, in this case it is 1. Type that directly into your calculator just like I wrote it. I don't feel bad at all. Okay, we get 1. Okay, I'm going to remind you because we talked about this last Friday, but it's been a while. If you get a positive answer, you get 2 solutions, and I'm going to put SOL for solutions. Yeah. Can we not? Yeah. I can't hear him. Okay. Number 8, same exact thing. We're doing the discriminant. So if it's a positive number, you're getting 2 solutions. So in number 8, we also want to do the discriminant. What is B for 8? -4. We want to square it. -4. Our A is -6, and our C is -4. You type it in exactly like I have it with the parentheses and everything. And tell me what you get when you type all that in. You get -80. Just for a reminder of what we learned last Friday, if you get a negative answer, you get no solution. Okay, number 9 and 10 ask you specifically how many solutions will you have. So you've got to do the same thing, but now you have to know how many solutions. So we're doing the discriminant. Number 9, b squared, your b is 12. 12 squared minus 4 times a times c. Type it in exactly how I wrote it with parentheses and everything. In this case, you get 0. That tells you that you're going to get one solution. If you ever get 0, you get one solution. Number 10, same thing. It wants to know how many solutions. Your B has a -1 in front of it. So it's -1 squared minus 4 times a, I think that's a